Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well. In this video, I want to talk to you about a chart signal, which is called the kiss of death. And I know it sounds a bit scary and it's all very fancy, but I want to explain to you what it is and how it could relate to the chart of Bitcoin at the moment. So join me. All right, guys, welcome back. Now, I'm sure you've heard me mention this particular chart signal before in my previous videos, the kiss of death. And essentially all it is that on a weekly chart, so what you got to do is go on a weekly chart. Actually, it could be a monthly chart too if you want, but usually on a higher time frame like a weekly chart. When a price has been trending up and then suddenly the price reverses and drops below the 21 weekly average, so the 21 weekly exponential moving average, the blue line you see on my chart there, usually after price drops below it, one of two things happen. Either the price goes back to the 21 average and goes above it again, okay, resuming the uptrend, or what might happen is called a kiss of death. The kiss of death is the price, after it drops below the 21 average, goes back, kisses the 21 average, in other words, tests or touches the 21 weekly average, and then drops back below it again. Again, that's what's called a kiss of death signal. So here's an example for you on the chart of Bitcoin back in 2018, I think it was. After it dropped below the 21 average, it kind of bounced back to the 21 weekly average and then it dropped again. And that's what's called the kiss of death. Here's an example for you on the monthly chart of the S&P in 2008, I think it was, when it dropped below the 21 average, it bounced back to it and then boom, it went below it again. And that's what's called a kiss of death signal. Now here's why I'm mentioning this in this particular video. And it's not because I'm seeing a kiss of death signal at the moment on the chart of Bitcoin, but it's just that usually in an uptrend, in a bull market or an uptrend, especially on Bitcoin, for example, we've seen in the past, after a drop back down to the 21 average, it manages to quickly recover and go back above it again. So if you look over here, you'll notice that in the past, every single correction in previous bull markets on Bitcoin, we've seen a drop back down to the 21 average and then quickly bounces back above it again. In fact, even when the price, when it goes below the 21 average, in previous bull markets that is, it usually manages to recover quickly and goes back above the 21 average to continue that bull market uptrend continuation. The problem is that in the past few weeks, ever since the price dropped below the 21 weekly average, the price of Bitcoin has not managed to get back above it again. In fact, as you can see here, it's managed to stay below the 21 weekly average. It has not managed to recover and move above it like previous bull market corrections. And again, notice, by the way, what's interesting is the price of Bitcoin has not even touched it, hasn't even kissed the 21 weekly average. Now, we shall see what happens in the next week or so, but the bottom line is, my point simply in this video is this. The longer the price of Bitcoin lingers below the 21 weekly average, the more concerning and the more worrying that is. Because, look, I don't like the fact that Bitcoin continues to linger and stay below the 21 weekly average for so long. It's been quite a few weeks now. In fact, in a normal, healthy bull market, the price of Bitcoin should have recovered by now and moved above it and continued that uptrend like we've seen in the past from 2015 to 2017. It did that. But so far, nope, the price of Bitcoin just lingering and continuing to stay below the 21 weekly average. And that is concerning. That is worrying. It's a sign of potential weakness. So essentially, the longer price remains below the 21 weekly average, the more likely it becomes that price may, again, drop lower. Now, again, it depends on what happens in the next few days. Now, look, maybe things will change in the next few days. We'll have to see what happens to Bitcoin by the end of this week. And by the way, keep an eye on the chart of the stock markets, because if the stock markets see downward pressure, if the stock market, for example, the S&P, sees a major drop, that could potentially put downward pressure on Bitcoin as well. I mean, might see Bitcoin being dragged down with it. Now, that's possible because we've seen this correlation between Bitcoin and the stock market in the past. Will that correlation continue? Yeah, it's possible and probable, I would say. But again, I think what the S&P does, what the stock market does, could have a major impact on Bitcoin going forward. And again, if that happens, that actually may increase the probability of the kiss of death signal on Bitcoin. We shall see. I would say this week coming, the next few days, the next 7 days could be very important and very critical for Bitcoin. And we shall find out what Bitcoin decides. Before I finish the video, let me just quickly say this. I did a very interesting and educational webinar with Guy Cohen, who is a leading expert on options and hedging strategies, also the best-selling author of Options Made Easy. So you can watch the replay of our webinar when you join the membership. And you can join and become a member on that link you see right there. Thanks very much, guys. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.